What is your background, and how did you come to realize that you had psychopathy?
My pseudonym is Emmy Thomas. I wrote the book Confessions of a Sociopath, a life spent hiding in plain sight. I'm a lawyer. I'm middle-aged now. I am a diagnosed psychopath. I have a big family. I live in a small community in California where I grew up. I enjoy playing with my nieces and nephews. I was a music major and I have a jam session later on that I'm going to, and I mostly just live a normal life. I think I never understood the word psychopathy. I never understood the word psychopath until I was doing an internship. It was during law school, and I had a office mate who, this internship, it was supposed to be like a 9-to-5 thing, but really we only had like 2 hours of work per day or something. So we started talking, and she was a very interesting person. I think that the nature of the conversations were probably maybe a little bit more open than I realized. After several weeks of this, she said, you might want to consider the possibility that you're a sociopath. And so I just looked it up and found a website that had 12 criteria or something, and I kind of read through it and I was like, actually this does seem to fit. People had been telling me all my life, think more about others, consider others, what about other people's safety, what about other people's feelings, what about other people's needs? And that was not a very useful thought for me, because I was so bad at it. I mean, it just went so far against the grain that I basically, I was terrible at it. I even if I tried to, I'd forget the next day, and then it was like back to the same sort of behavior. And I think one of the things that kind of struck me is that, probably the labels that I think fit more closely are that I really didn't feel guilt. I understood that I didn't feel guilt. I understood that people had tried to shame me before into feeling guilt. I remember this time when I was 8 or 9 or something. We're watching TV and there's this kid on the screen and he was, disabled or something. And I made a joke about it. I made a joke about how he was disabled. And my dad said, "Have you no empathy?" And was just kind of like shocked and disturbed by whatever the joke was. And I thought to myself, what is empathy? And maybe I don't have it, because, I think I asked him, what is empathy? And he started telling me, okay, you start feeling for other people. And I thought, well, definitely I don't do this. I mean, it is one of my more negative traits, especially when, during my 20s. I call that kind of like the playground stage, because that was like when all of my psychopathic traits were at their peak. And if somebody cried, I would get angry with them. I thought crying is kind of a manipulative tactic, because I don't understand crying, especially if we had like a close relationship. They were a friend for several years. They know I don't understand the crying. Why are they crying? Almost kind of like a use your words with a toddler thing. That would be my reaction with them. And then of course they just keep crying, because it's like a terrible thing to engage with somebody. You're crying, you're upset, So I had a friend whose dad was dying of cancer. And after a while, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was like, you know what? You are way too emotional. I cannot handle your emotion. Let's take a break from each other. And I think her dad died while we were during this break, that I took, which was, I can't handle your emotion while your dad's dying. I mean, now I look back at it and I think that's not being a good friend. But at the time, I just thought, honestly, I do not have the emotional depth, the capacity, the empathy to be able to deal with this.